My name is Isabella. I am 32 years old, and I live in a small town near the mountains of the United States. It's a quiet place with big green trees, cold winters, and kind people. For many years, my life was happy. I had a good husband and 2 lovely children. I thought nothing could go wrong. But life can change when you least expect it. I met my husband Daniel when I was just 20. He was 10 years older than me. Some people said the age gap was too much, but I didn't care. Daniel was kind. He worked as a carpenter and built beautiful wooden tables and chairs. His hands were strong, but his heart was soft. I felt safe with him. We got married when I turned 21. It was a small wedding in a wooden church near the lake. I wore a light blue dress, and Daniel wore a white shirt and dark pants. It was simple, but it felt special. My mother cried happy tears, and Daniel S. father gave us his old house as a gift. That little house became our home. 2 years later, we had our first child, a boy named Leo. He had Daniel's dark hair and big brown eyes. He was a quiet baby who liked to listen to music. When Leo turned 2, our daughter Maya was born. She had my smile and Daniel's strong little hands. She cried a lot at night, but her laugh made everything okay. Our house was always full of noise. The children laughed, Daniel worked in his shop behind the house, and I cooked meals in our small kitchen. Every Sunday we went to the market together. Life was busy, but it was beautiful. Daniel always supported me. He said, "Isabella, you must learn about the business too. If something happens to me one day, you should know how to handle things." I listened to him. I started helping with orders, writing bills, and talking to customers. Daniel was proud of me. Then, one winter evening, everything changed. We were having dinner with some neighbors to celebrate a new order. Daniel had just finished a big job for the town school. Everyone clapped for him and raised their glasses. Daniel smiled and said, "It was a hard job, but I enjoyed it." Later that night, after everyone left, Daniel sat down on the couch. His face looked tired. He wiped sweat from his forehead and said, "I feel a little strange. Maybe I worked too hard." I brought him water, but he didn't drink it. He closed his eyes and whispered, "My chest hurts." I panicked. I called the doctor, but it was too late. Daniel's heart stopped in front of me. I screamed. I held his hands. I begged him to wake up. But Daniel was gone. The next few days were a blur. People came and went. They brought food and flowers. They said things like, "Be strong," and "He's in a better place." But I didn't feel strong. I felt like my world had ended. Leo was 9. Maya was 7. They didn't understand fully, but they knew something was wrong. Maya cried every night. Leo didn't speak much. He just sat near the window and looked outside. I stopped smiling. I stopped eating. I stayed in bed most days. My mother came to help, but even she couldn't cheer me up. One night, I heard a small voice by my bed. It was Maya. "Mom," she said softly, "please don't leave us too. We still need you." Her little hand touched mine. I looked at her. Her eyes were full of tears, but they were also full of love. Something inside me woke up that night. I sat up, held Maya close, and promised, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here." The next morning, I got out of bed and made breakfast. It was only toast and eggs, but it felt like a big step. Leo smiled when he saw me in the kitchen. Maya hugged me from behind. I started doing small things again. I washed clothes, cleaned the house, and helped Leo with his schoolwork. I went to Daniel's workshop. It was cold and dusty. His tools were still on the table. I touched the wooden chair he was making. A tear fell down my cheek. Then I remembered Daniel's words. You should know how to handle things. So I opened his notebook. He had written everything down, names of customers, prices, drawings. I began learning slowly. I called one customer and said, "I will try to finish your table." It wasn't easy. I made mistakes. I cried a lot, but I tried. One day, I found an envelope in Daniel's drawer. My name was written on it. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a letter. "Dear Isabella," it began. "If you are reading this, I am not with you anymore. Please don't cry too much. You are stronger than you think. Take care of Leo and Maya. They need you. And don't forget to take care of yourself too. Life is still beautiful. You just have to look for the light again. Love always, Daniel." I held the letter to my chest. It felt like he was still with me. His words gave me strength. After that, I worked harder. I finished the table he had started. I showed it to the customer who said, "This is perfect. Daniel would be proud." I smiled for the first time in months. But inside, I still felt lonely. I missed Daniel's voice, his smile, his laugh. I missed the way he held my hand when we walked to the lake. Some nights, I cried quietly so the children wouldn't hear. Time passed slowly. Winter turned into spring, then summer. I kept working. The business grew. I even hired a helper to lift heavy wood. People started saying, "You're doing so well, Isabella." But they didn't know how empty I felt inside. One evening, I was walking home from the market when I saw a sign on a wall. It said, "Embroidery class. every Thursday at 6 p.m. Come learn, relax, and meet others. I paused and looked at the sign for a long time. I didn't know why, but something inside me whispered, "Try it." Maybe I just wanted to be around people. Maybe I wanted something new. Maybe I was ready for a small change. I looked at the sky. It was turning pink as the sun went down. I thought of Daniel. I thought of his letter. Life is still beautiful. You just have to look for the light again. I touched the letter in my coat pocket. I still carried it with me every day. And so I decided to go to the class. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It gives me strength to know someone is hearing my words, someone who understands me. Please tell me in the comments. I would really love to know. The embroidery class was held in a small community center near the bakery. On my first day, I walked in quietly and looked around. The room smelled like fresh flowers and soap. There were 6 women sitting at a table with colorful threads and cloth in front of them. One of them looked up and smiled. "Hi there! You must be new," she said. Her name was Grace, and she was the teacher. She was older, maybe in her 50s, with silver hair tied in a bun and a warm voice. "Come sit next to me," she said kindly. I sat down and looked at the cloth in front of me. Grace showed me how to hold the needle, how to pull the thread gently, and how to make small stitches. My hands shook at first, but Grace said, "Don't worry. We all start like this." I liked the feeling of soft fabric in my hands. I liked the quiet in the room, the sound of light laughter, the soft voices sharing stories. I didn't talk much, but I listened. After class, I helped clean up. Grace said, "Would you like to join us again next week?" "Yes," I said softly. "Thank you." I started going every Thursday. It felt good to leave the house for something that was just for me. Maya always said, "Mom, show me what you made." Leo smiled and said, "That looks really good." One evening, as I entered the center, I saw Grace talking to a man near the doorway. He was tall and had broad shoulders. His jacket was covered in light dust, like he had been working outside. Grace noticed me and waved. "Isabella, come here. I want you to meet my nephew." The man turned around. He had light brown hair, soft blue eyes, and a kind smile. His name was Eli. He was 29 years old and worked as a landscaper. He built gardens, planted trees, and took care of the parks in town. "Nice to meet you," Eli said, reaching out to shake my hand. "You too," I said, trying not to blush. Grace said, "Eli came to help me fix the broken shelf in the storage room." I smiled and walked past them into the class, but I could feel Eli's eyes on me for a moment. My heart beat a little faster, and I didn't know why. After that day, I saw Eli a few more times. He came to the center to fix small things for Grace. Once he helped hang new lights. Another time, he carried boxes to her car. He always said hello to me, and sometimes we talked a little. One evening, I stayed back after class to help fold fabric. Eli was there fixing a loose table leg. He smiled and said, "You're always helping. That's nice." "I just like to keep busy," I said, placing some fabric in a box. Eli looked at me for a second, then said, "Would you like to have coffee with me sometime?" I froze. My fingers stopped moving. "I mean," he added quickly, "only if you feel comfortable. No pressure." I looked at him. He seemed honest and calm. I felt nervous, but also a little curious. "Okay," I said quietly. We met at a small cafe 2 streets away. It was warm inside, and the air smelled like cinnamon and coffee. We sat near the window and talked for hours. Eli told me about his work with flowers and trees. He loved nature. He talked about how peaceful it was to plant things and watch them grow. I told him about Daniel. I told him about Leo and Maya. I didn't tell everything, but enough to help him understand. He didn't interrupt me. He didn't ask too many questions. He just listened. "I know it's hard," he said. "I lost my dad when I was 15. I understand pain takes time." Something about his words touched me. We both had known loss. Maybe that's why I felt safe talking to him. After that evening, Eli and I started meeting more often. Sometimes he walked with me to the market. Sometimes he came by to help with small repairs in the workshop. One day, he brought Maya a little flower pot with her name painted on it. "For you," he said. "You can grow your own flowers." Maya's eyes lit up. "Thank you," she said, hugging the pot. Leo was more quiet, but he watched Eli carefully. Eli never tried too hard. He didn't force anything. He just showed up, helped, and smiled. One Saturday, Eli came with us to the park. The children ran around while we sat on a bench. "You're good with them," I said. "They're great kids," he replied. We sat in silence for a while. The sun was warm on our faces. "Do you ever feel guilty for smiling again?" I asked him quietly. Eli looked at me, then spoke slowly. "Yes, for a long time. But someone once told me that love doesn't end. It changes shape. You don't lose the past. You just find room for the future." His words stayed with me. That night, I sat in the workshop. I looked at Daniel's photo on the shelf. I thought about our life. I thought about his letter. "You are stronger than you think. Life is still beautiful. Was it okay to feel something again? Was it okay to smile with someone new? One evening, I told Maya and Leo that Eli was coming for dinner. Maya clapped her hands. "Yay!" Leo just said. "Okay." He didn't smile, but he didn't frown either. We made soup and baked bread. Eli brought dessert from the bakery. After dinner, he helped Leo fix a toy car. He taught Maya how to water the little plant in the right way. Later, after the kids went to bed, I walked Eli to the door. "Thank you for coming," I said. "I like being here," he said. "You have a beautiful family." I looked down. I don't know where this is going. I still think about Daniel every day. "You should," Eli said. "He's part of your life. I don't want to take his place. I just want to be here, if you let me." Tears filled my eyes, but I smiled. "I don't know what the future holds," I said. "Let's find out together," he replied gently. Weeks turned into months. Eli and I continued to see each other. Slowly, he became a part of our world. He helped Maya with her school project about butterflies. He played soccer with Leo in the garden. On rainy days, we stayed inside and baked cookies. We laughed, listened to music, and talked about simple things. I still had sad moments, but they became fewer. My heart, once quiet and cold, was learning to feel warm again. One afternoon, I was walking through the market with Maya. She looked up at me and said, "Mom, do you love Eli?" I stopped and looked at her small face. "I don't know," I said, "but I care about him a lot." She smiled. "I like him. He makes you smile." That evening, I sat with Leo while he was doing his homework. "Do you miss Dad?" I asked softly. Leo put down his pencil. "Yes," he said. "Every day." I took a deep breath. "What do you think about Eli?" He was quiet for a moment, then said, "He's not Dad, but he's nice. He never tries to act like he is Dad. That's good." I felt tears behind my eyes. "Would it be okay if Eli stayed in our life?" I asked. Leo looked at me and gave a small smile. "I think so." That night, I went for a walk alone. The air was cool, and the sky was full of stars. I walked to the small bridge near the park where Daniel and I used to take the children when they were babies. I stood there and looked at the water moving slowly under the moonlight. I closed my eyes. "Daniel," I whispered, "I still miss you. Every single day. But I want you to know. The kids are happy again. There's someone who brings peace into our home. He isn't you, but he's gentle. He doesn't try to take your place. He respects our story. And I think you would want this for us. I hope you're proud of me." The wind touched my face softly, like a quiet answer. I stayed there a little longer, letting go of some of the pain I had held inside for years. A few weeks later, Eli came to the house with a small box in his hands. We were sitting outside in the garden, watching the children draw pictures on the ground with chalk. "I have something for you," he said. He gave me the box. Inside was a silver key on a chain. "This is the key to my house," he said. "I want you to have it, not because I want to rush anything, but because I want you to know I'm here. For real. For you and the kids." I held the key in my hand. It felt heavy and light at the same time. "You don't have to move in today or next week," he said. "Just whenever you're ready." I looked at him. "What if I want you to move in with us instead?" Eli smiled. "That would make me happy." So we talked to the children again. We asked them how they felt. We asked if they were okay with Eli living with us. Maya jumped up and hugged him. Leo said, "It's okay. Just don't take my room." We laughed together. It was a good sign. A month later, Eli moved into our home. We didn't throw a big party or tell the whole town. We just took one small step after another. He brought a few of his things, a box of books, his guitar, some plants for the windowsill. The house felt a little fuller, a little warmer. Some evenings, Eli played soft songs on his guitar. Maya danced around, and Leo tapped his pencil to the rhythm. I watched them from the kitchen and felt a kind of peace I hadn't known in years. One night, Maya asked, "Will you and Eli get married?" I looked at Eli. He smiled but didn't say anything. "Maybe," I said. "One day." "But you were married to Dad," Leo said. "Yes," I replied. "And I loved him very much. But it's okay to love again." Leo thought for a second and said, "Dad would want you to be happy." I kissed the top of his head. "Yes, I think so too." I still talk to Daniel sometimes. Not out loud, but in my heart. When I walk past the lake where we used to go. When I hear a song we used to love. When I see Leo's eyes or Maya's laugh. He's still here. Not in the room, not in the chair, but in the way we live. In the way I care for the kids. In the way I learned to keep going, even when it was hard. Eli never asked me to forget. He never tried to erase the past. He just offered to walk beside me as I moved forward. And that's what I needed. Today, our life is not perfect. Some days are still quiet. Some days I miss Daniel so much it hurts. But now, I know that pain and love can live together. I don't have to choose one or the other. My heart is like a house with two doors. One door holds memories, and one opens to the future. I keep both doors open, and that's okay. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.